What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Kagurabachi, chapter 89, yo. And if y'all remember, when we did the last chapter review, I was kind of upset that Azume won his battle off screen against the guy in the armor from the Hishaku group. I was kind of upset about that. I was like, yo, I would have loved to have seen this battle go down. But with this chapter right here, it explains why they chose not to show us this battle, because we probably would have been like, yo, this dude is trash. He got defeated by Azume. I mean, I was already thinking that he got defeated by Azuma, and I'm just like, yo, this dude is whack. But now we have a reason why he was defeated by Azuma, and the fact that they show Azuma there just standing in this chapter like, yo, he's that guy. Like, I want to see him go all out in the battle, but I also want to see this guy with the armor go all out in the battle, just based off the information we got in this chapter. But again, I am at work right now, so I do apologize, and if I do mess up on any of the names, I apologize on that as well, because I'm doing all this based off of memory since I'm at work and I don't have like a board where I can look at the names of the characters and stuff like I do when I'm at the crib. I understand you guys deserve perfection. I am not perfection. You know what I'm saying? I be seeing the comments, y'all be coming for me, but hey, yo, it's all good, man. Respect. But let's get into this video. So we get a color page this chapter, and I feel like it's been a while since we had a color page for Kagurabachi. I know at one point in time it felt like we was getting them left and right, but then it kind of like stopped for a while. But this one right here is pretty dope. We got your boy Yoji as well as Hakuri on the cover, and it looks as if they're fighting together. I imagine it's gonna be them teaming up against Yura. I could be wrong about what's gonna happen in the next chapter in that battle, but this is just the vibes I'm getting. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this chapter was amazing, but I was curious to see what was gonna happen with Yura as well as the Sword Master in the next chapter, which I was thinking would be this chapter, but it seems as if they took a dive in another direction. And don't get me wrong, the direction they chose does have me amped for that as well. It's like so many things going on at one time in this series. It's hard to choose where I want it to focus at. Like, part of me wants to see Azuma do some more damage. Part of me want to see what's going on with Samura and Chihiro. Then part of me want to see what's going to happen in this battle between Yoji and Yura. And then part of me wants to see what's going to happen with the new girl we got introduced to in the last chapter, Kiri, I believe her name was. I could be wrong, but I think it was Kiri. But I want to see what happens with her, because she had that giant ass sword and she just looked like she was dope as hell. So I don't know, this story has so much going on where I don't really know what I want to see next. Well, I would say the Sword Master, but outside of the Sword Master, I don't know what I really want to see next. But yo, let's get into the chapter, man. It starts off where we get a little flashback of the wielder of the cloud enchanted blade. And like I said, when we first saw this panel where it had all the sword bearers versus the Sword Master, I was like, yo, this dude design looks sick as hell with the gloves, and then he got like the scarf wrapped around his arm and the lightning circling his body. I was like, yo, this dude just looks amazing. And apparently this kid was a prodigy, yo. They're saying like, yo, he was only like 20 years old, if I'm not mistaken, when he got chosen to be a sword bearer. They were saying like, this guy is a sword master. And apparently after the war ended, whatever, the circumstances that happened with the Sword Master had it where he didn't seek to be a sword, a sword bearer anymore. He didn't want to be a person of war. I imagine just seeing the Sword Master take down all those innocent lives probably had this guy where he was just like, yo, I'll never touch a blade again in my life. But they show this guy, he's relaxing. It looks like he's at home sitting in a bath or sitting on the couch, and that's when you have the member from the Hishaku group show up, and the one that's wearing the armor, and he shows up to battle this guy, and he actually managed to take him out because he ambushed him, so to speak. And then you have it where they jump to Azuma, and you see that he defeated that same guy wearing the armor. But then that's when we find out the guy who was wearing the armor, the assassin that was wearing the armor, was like a puppet. It was like a dummy, no doubt created by that guy who uses tree sorcery abilities that's part of the Hishaku group. I imagine he was the one who created this clone-like copy. And with that being said, how many of the members of this group are actually there within the government base trying to get to the Sword Master? How many of them are actually there, and how many of them are actually fakes? I'm very curious. But based on what we see here, the fakes aren't as strong as the original. But you have it where they actually show the real guy who wearing the armor, and he's talking to this old lady and at a smoke shop. And you have it where another guy walks up to him, and while they're talking, this other guy pulls out a cigarette. Some random dude, at least that's what it's looking like. Well, it looks like he's giving intel on what's going on with the government. But he pulls out a cigarette, he's looking for a light. Next thing you know, his cigarette is lit. And you got it where the guy's like, yo, did you pull your sword out on me? And he's like, nah, man, I didn't even touch my sword, man. It's just a little trick I did to light your cigarette. You have it where this guy walks off. And then next thing you know, his design looks sick as hell, by the way. The guy who's wearing the armor, his design looks sick as hell. He reminds me of someone from another series that I can't quite remember. But he just looked really familiar. But anyway, you have it where as this guy's walking off smoking his cigarette, you have it where the old lady at the smoke shop, she says, you did draw your katana. And he's like, oh, did you see me? She was like, how is that even possible with friction? And he says like, yo, adding my spirit energy to manipulate it, the friction, I was able to cause ultra hot temperatures in a mere fraction of a second. And that's how he was able to, light that dude's cigarette. But the fact that the old lady was able to notice that, I wonder if she's going to come into play later on in the story, because it was crazy that she was able to catch on to that. So I feel like it might be more to her than meets the eye. But anyway, you have it where the other member from the Hishaku group, who wears the hat and does the tree like magic, he calls the armor wearing one. We need names for these guys. Neither one of these guys have names, but we have it where he calls the other one, and he says like, yo, we need you to help out. And we see the one that's wearing the armor, he's unmotivated, man. He's like, yo, for years people have been celebrating me, saying I'm the one who defeated the person, the bearer of the cloud enchanted blade. And the truth is, his fangs were gone long ago, meaning this dude didn't have a fighting spirit. He didn't wish to fight. You see, when he stands up, he doesn't even look like he's in shape anymore to face off against the Hishaku member who's wearing the armor. And you see that this guy won that battle, but he feels empty inside because he doesn't feel like it was a true victory. This guy he faced off against wasn't in his prime. He didn't have an enchanted blade. He was just a guy. He was just a shell of his former self. And so this guy feels, he doesn't feel like he's been satisfied yet. And he feels like all these people are praising him from being the one to defeat this guy, but he doesn't deserve to be praised because the person he faced wasn't a worthy foe. And so ever since then, this guy is really unmotivated. Even though he did technically beat this guy, it wasn't a true victory in his eyes. And that right there kind of makes me feel like, yo, this guy may not be that bad. It seems like he does have some morals. He did what he had to do for his mission, but at the same time, he resented it because the person he faced wasn't really even a warrior anymore. But anyway, while all that's going down, you have it where the guy with the hat from the group tells him like, yo, you should come help out because there's some couple strong people here that you could face off with, and maybe you'll find maybe you'll be satisfied with these battles. And you have it where they mention, Kiri, which is the grandchild, like, yo, you might have fun with her. Or they say there's someone else here that you might actually want to face off against. And you have it where he's listening like, yo, who? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you got it where he's like excited. He's like, what? Yoji's alive? He's there. So he's having a chance to face off against another sword bearer, which has him excited, saying like, yo, well, maybe he may be a challenge since this other guy wasn't. And you got it where he tells the granny like, yo, all right, sweetheart, see you later. And he walks off. But as he leaves, it jumps to this other character whose design is sick as hell. And he's just like listening to music. It looks as if he's in a training room, and he has it where pieces of a log are being shot at him and he's slicing them in half. I'm not gonna lie, these panels look hot as hell. His design looks sick as hell. And if you pay attention to his design, he looks exactly like the previous bearer of the cloud sword. And we find out that that's the younger brother. He said him and his brother was 2 years apart. They were very gifted when it came to swordsmanship. Like, yo, they were excellent. And when it came, and he was actually a part of, the group that was going to take this island on. And when it came to choosing the sword bearers, he was expecting to be chosen just like his brother was, but he wasn't chosen. Any flaw that Chihiro father seen would count as something that would make them not worthy to be a sword bearer. And for whatever reason, we don't know that flaw yet, Chihiro father chose Yoji. And at the time, Yoji was 17, 2 years younger Then this guy, which I believe he was, or 2 years younger than me, he was 19. I believe his brother was like 20, 21 when he got chosen to bear the Cloud Sword Enchanted Blade. But we have it where he was upset about it, but he was like, yo, that's just the way life is. But because of that, he just focused on his training and kept improving over the years. Once his brother came back from that war, we all know what happened. The Swordmaster went on a massacre. But once, the bearer of the Cloud Sword came back, he felt like he wasn't a warrior anymore for whatever reason. We know the real reason. But he put down the sword and he just kind of withered away far as with his technique. But you had it where this guy, his younger brother, he didn't stop. He constantly kept training, but now he wants revenge for the death of his brother. And he's saying like, yo, the Hishaku group, they took my brother's life and I will get them back, brother. I will get revenge for him. And you have it where the chapter ends where he's saying like, yo, he just had a long warm up. He was practicing and training, and now that he heard that they're invading the government, because he works for the government, he's the the Togo Squad commander. He's been waiting for their their return so that he could get vengeance for his brother. And that's how the chapter pretty much ends. But I want to see what this guy's capable of. Like, yo, and if he wasn't chosen to be a sword bearer and his brother was, yo, oh my gosh, and he feel like he was damn near on par of what his brother was, that means when we see this guy battle, we're going to see pretty much an example of what his brother was probably capable of in the past while he was in his prime, before he got chosen for Enchanted Blade. Like, yo, I can't wait. And you just got this dude standing there, he's holding 2 blades in his hands. Yo, this dude design looks sick as hell. But I don't know, man. I'm ready for the next chapter already. Let me know your thoughts on this one down below. If you like the video, thumb it up. Please subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.